Welcome into episode 80 of the Interview Podcast. This will be a short, this is going to be a sweet podcast today. This is me. It's only me today. Marty has had a little in time, but episode 80, we're going to talk about week 8. We're going to talk about Alabama. We're going to talk about Auburn, what's going on there. Florida made a big situation today. We're all going to talk about that. But before we get settled, we're going to send you over. And we're going to go under the monitor, and we'll be right back.
Welcome to the Under Review Podcast, where Saturdays mean everything, rivalries run deep, and the SEC reigns supreme. Hosted by Todd and Marty, two die-hard fans breaking down every snap, storyline, and showdown across the Southeastern Conference. From the swamp to the plains, between the hedges to the bayou, no team is safe when it's under review. Now back to the action with Todd and Marty.
Like I said, episode 80 is just me tonight. We're going to get ready. We got a lot in store for you. We're going to run over the top 25. Like I said, some stuff has happened today inside the SEC. And then a couple of games, UAB had a big win this week over a ranked. God, who they played? Memphis, I should know that. Beating the ranked Memphis, 22 in the nation, 22 goes down. Big upset week actually in general for a lot of college football, not just the SEC. There was some close games in the SEC, and we'll get that to a little bit. Like I said, Marty's not here, but we are going to start out with the firing of Billy Napier inside Florida. I think Billy Gonzalez, the wide receiver coach, will now be the interim coach. He is the wide receiver coach. He's been at Florida for a while. So let me pull that back up. Yeah, Billy Gonzalez named the interim coach. He's been the wide receiver coach. But, we've talked about it. I did tell, I've been saying it all season. I said, by the Mississippi State game, after that game, Billy Napier will get fired. Granted, he won, but at what cost? This week's AP Top 25, Ohio State at 1. Really no surprise here. Indiana at 2. Texas A&M jumped up to 3, top 3. Alabama 4 after their big win over Texas in the cigar matchup. Georgia 5, blue. Oregon 6. Georgia Tech 7. Ole Miss only drops to 8. They were 5, they're now 8. Miami, big loss this week, drops to 9. Vanderbilt, after a big win over LSU, bumps up to 10. BYU 11. Notre Dame 12. Oklahoma 13. Texas Tech, after a big loss this week to Arizona State, goes to 14. Missouri win over Auburn this week, 15. Virginia 16. 17. Tennessee. USF Bulls here at 18. Louisville 19. LSU drops to 20. Cincinnati 21. Texas 22. Illinois 23. Sun Devils at 24. And then cracking back into the top 25 is Michigan. I think this is very interesting. I think having Michigan back for the big game inside the top 25. Don't know how far they're going to stay in there. So we'll see. I think Arizona State deserves to be ranked. Yes, they do have a loss against Mississippi State. But again, this is not the same Mississippi State team as from before. This Mississippi State team is unfortunate. They did lose last night. That does suck. But I think this Mississippi State team is better than, they're not bottom of the barrel this year inside of the SEC. So I'm glad that Mississippi State is more relevant, I will say, this year. Like I said, they did beat Arizona State earlier. That's what dropped them out of the polls, but now they're back into the polls. All right, now we're going to jump into Around the State. All right, let's jump around it. Some big, bye weeks. Like I said, Music City Classic coming up next weekend. But they get a bye this week. Alabama State and Alabama A&M. Oh, Jesus. Well, one thing is the other. All right. Like we talked about Tuesday or Saturday, whatever it was. South Alabama comes on the short end of Arkansas State, 15-14. Jacksonville State dominant win over Delaware, 38-25. Sanford their first victory over VMI, 24-22. Troy dominates ULM, 37-14. North Alabama destroys EKU, 35-14. And then West Alabama loses to West Florida. I think that game was a better game than it was. Like I said, West Florida was fourth in the nation in D2. West Alabama cracked in at 8. Good game for them, but at the end of the day, West Florida takes them out. Sanford and South Alabama 1-6 now. 2-5 for the North Alabama Lions. 3-4 for the UAB Blazers. 4-3 for Jack State and Alabama A&M. Alabama State 4-2. West Alabama 5-1, and then UAB 3-4 as Troy 5-2. We're going to step aside real quick to take a word from our sponsor, Tactical Home and Pest.
Hey, babe, we got ants.
Okay, kill them.
No, really, there's a lot of freaking ants.
Well, what do you want me to do? I ain't no expert.
Well, fine then. I'll call Tactical Home and Pest.
Go ahead and call Benjamin.
Hey there, this is Ben with Tactical Home and Pest, proud sponsor of Todd and Marty and their Under Review podcast. And can I just say that if the bugs I deal with had referees, I'd be called for targeting. Tactical Home and Pest, 256-592-2842, or visit me at tacticalhomeandpest.com.
And thank you for Tactical Home and Pest for all your pest control needs. Just call Benjamin at Tactical Home and Pest. All right, now we're going to get into some of the SEC games. Like I said, this week was a pretty great, stellar week inside of the SEC. Starting it off with not so much of a game. Oklahoma goes into William Bryce Stadium 26-7. I didn't catch a lot of this game. That was something else I was watching at the time. But, what we expected was going to happen happened, or in my case. Okay, I thought I had the wrong game. John Mateer, season low, 150 yards. 18 for 26, 1 touchdown. Tory Baylock, 19 carries, 101 for 1 yard. Isaiah Santega the third, 7 receptions, 73 yards and 1 touchdown. And then on the South Carolina side, they couldn't get anything going. Looks like they ran 2 quarterbacks. Lenore Sellers, 17 for 25, 124, 1 touchdown. Rasul Faison, 10 for 50. Jaden Sellers, 6 for 57. And then Nick Harbor, 4 for 22 and 1 touchdown. Again, it's the defense not showing up any for South Carolina. The big guys, I'm not even seeing him on there. Brian Thomas Jr., 2 tackles, 1 sack. Oh, that's why. He was out this game. Dylan Stewart. Yeah, I mean, for a team built like South Carolina to be losing like this, it's something. Again, I've said it before that Shane Beamer will possibly leave later on in the season to go to another coaching job. What was actually another close one? Texas A&M inside Arkansas. Arkansas takes them to the brim, 45-42. Aggies win. Marcel Reed, 23 for 32, 283 touchdowns. Ruben Owens, second, 14 carries, 69 yards. 2 touchdowns as well. Casey Concepcion, 5 receptions, 53 yards, 1 touchdown. And then Dalton Brooks, 9 tackles, 7 solos, 1 sack, 2.5 tackles for losses. Flipping over to Arkansas. Taylor Green, 19 for 32, 256, 3 touchdowns. Mike Washington Jr., 147 and 16 carries. Omega Blake, 7 receptions for 118 yards and 1 touchdown. Glad to see he's back in form. Xavier Story, 11 tackles, 5 solos, 1 tackle for loss, 1 pass deflection. Again, this game was closer than expected. Arkansas put up 15 in the fourth quarter. They play at home next week against a 4-loss Auburn team, which is going to be really interesting to decipher later on in the week. Because this Arkansas team under Petrino, has really turned around here, and it's going to be scary next week. Like I mentioned earlier, Mississippi State goes to the Swamp. A late interception gives Florida the win, 21-23. Again, Blake Shaven didn't have a great game. 24 for 36, 324 yards, 1 interception. There was no fluff ball this game. 22 for 105 for Devin Booth and 2 touchdowns. Brennan Thompson, 7 receptions, 155. And then Anthony Evans, 11 catches for 107. Isaac Smith back in the action this week. 6 tackles, 4 solos, 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss. Flipping over to Florida, DJ Lagway, 20 for 34, 280. No touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Again, here's your problem, Florida. It's your quarterback play. Yeah, he's throwing it great, but 8 yards, catch, it's not working out. Like, there needs to be a good quarterback. And I'll say this again later on in the episode when Auburn comes up. But 2 interceptions is bad, but no touchdowns really is going to hurt you. Jaden Vaught, 23 for 151 touchdown. VB the third, Varnell Brown the third, 5 receptions, 95 yards, no touchdowns. And then Alfonso Allen Jr., 15 tackles, 8 solos. Man was showing up. And Trace Mack had a pretty good. Long of 54, 3 for 3. And then the poor little, he tried. The kicker for Mississippi State missed one. Blocked, maybe. It's a freshman, I think. But now, one of the first overtime games we had, Texas sneaks out of Kroger Field, 16-13 in overtime. I'm a big Cutter Bowley fan, better than Zach Calzada, but Arch Manning went 12 for 27, 132 yards, no touchdowns. Again, when will we call Matt Caldwell? Could be next week. Just these numbers for Arch Manning, like I said, 12 for 27, 132 is absolutely terrible. Quintavious Wisner, 12 for 37, 1 touchdown. 47 total rushing yards for Texas this week, compared to the 137 rushing for Kentucky. DeAndre Moore Jr., 3 receptions, 37 yards. Anthony Hill Jr., 12 tackles, 8 solos, 1 pass deflection. Swapping over to the Kentucky side, Cutter Bowley, 31 for 39, 258, no touchdowns, 1 interception. also led the team, him and Seth McGowan, 14 carries apiece, 45 yards, and then 1 touchdown to Cutter Bowling. And then McGowan also leading receivers, 7 receptions, 68 yards. Ty Bryant, 7 total tackles, 4 solos, 1 tackle for loss, caused 2 fumbles. And then Jordan Lovett, 4 tackles, 3 solos, and a half tackle for loss. Kentucky did everything in their power to win this game. Gutsy call in overtime, if you watched it, that he was going to run right up the middle. Dude tries to leap over and stretch. Didn't quite make it. I think it was a terrible call by Stoops and the Kentucky Wildcats. Florida goes down, kicks the field goal, wins the game. Kentucky next week needs to pull it together. Kentucky will have Tennessee. Maybe Kentucky can pull it together. I don't think they can beat Tennessee, but you'll have more of that next week when we talk about it. But now we're going to step aside and take a word from our last sponsor, and then we'll come back and talk more SEC football.
This episode of the Under Review podcast is brought to you by Chuck's Heating and Air. Chuck has over 40 years of service and experience with residential services. He services most makes and models. He is Alabama licensed, bonded, and insured, and locally owned and operated. Are you hot and you're supposed to be cool? Are you cool and you're supposed to be hot? Then you've got a problem. Call Chuck. Area code 256-892-2757. Again, 256-892-2757. Chuck's Heating and Air.
Again, thank you to Chuck's Heating and Air, 256-892-2757. Now let's get into some SEC play. Going to start off with what was an upset for the Commodores. 31-24 in an SEC matchup, conference matchup. Diego Pavia and Vanderbilt did everything they could at the 17 seed to take down 10-seeded LSU. And I think, to be honest, LSU losing this game, okay, that's fine. But when Vanderbilt does not rush the field after they beat you and you're a higher seed, I'd take that as disrespect. The ultimate troll for Vandy. Oh yeah, we've been here. We're Vandy. We're supposed to beat teams like this, but then they didn't rush the field. That's just amazing to me. I found it hilarious for that to happen because I was sitting there. I turned it on. I was like, "Hey, I want to watch the last couple seconds of this because I want to watch Vanderbilt storm the field." And then they did, and then I was kind of upset. And then I was like, "Oh, it's just an ultimate troll." It was pretty funny, but at this time. In week 8, going into week 9, I take all my eggs out of this LSU basket and I throw them on the ground. I'm done with them. I think Brian Kelly needs to be fired. They have one of the best offenses in the league. Could have beat on paper. And they can't do nothing but get 100 total rushing yards. Okay, that's not bad. But you lose. You're a higher ranked team. You're coming in. Yeah, I don't think he was favored, but you come in, you're supposed to beat them, and then you don't. I think LSU is your downfall, and it upsets me. It really does. But Garrett Nussmeier, 19 for 28, 225 yards, 2 touchdowns. Harlem Berry, 11 carries, 55 yards. Caleb Durham, 7 carries, 59 yards. Savion Thomas, in 4 receptions for 75 yards, 1 touchdown. Trey Green, 5 receptions, 74 yards. 1 touchdown. A.J. Halsey, 13 total tackles, 9 solos, 1 pass deflection. Westweek, 6 tackles, 3 solos, and 1 sack, and 2 tackles for losses. And flipping over to the winners. Diego Pavia, 14 for 22, 160, 1 touchdown. Diego Pavia also leading rushers, 17 carries, 86 yards, 2 touchdowns. As a team, Vanderbilt rushed for 239 yards. I mean, can't beat them. Join them, right? Cole Spence, 5 receptions for 56 yards and a touchdown. And then Langston Patterson, 5 tackles, 5 solos. Was all that Vanderbilt needed to do in this game to win. And like I said, I did find it, funny, but really wanted to see him storm the field. Understand, but Vanderbilt big win. They get to host College Game Day this week as Missouri comes to town, which Georgia, another comeback victory, and it's starting to upset me. But 43-35, they hold off Lane Kiffin's Ole Miss Black Bear Rebel Sharks, whatever they are. And at this point, I picked Ole Miss, and I really can't go back from saying that now, but Gunnar Stockton had a great game. Gunnar Stockton, 26 for 31, 289, 4 touchdowns. And then Trinidad Chambliss came in, or stayed in for 19 for 36, 263, and 1 touchdown. Also, leading rusher, 9 carries, 42 yards, 2 touchdowns, as in Kwan Lacey, 12 carries for 31 yards and 2 touchdowns as well. Deshaun Streiblinger, 3 catches for 96 yards and a touchdown. Trinidad Chambliss had 1 fumble. And then Centurion Perkins, 10 tackles, 5 solos, a half tackle for loss for this Ole Miss Rebels team. Now, like I said, 17 points inside the fourth quarter helps Georgia prevail for this week victory. Nate Frazier, 17 carries for 72 yards. Zachariah Branch, 8 carries for 71 yards. And then C.J. Allen's 10 tackles, 8 solos. And I'm not really dead set on this Georgia team just yet. So anytime Georgia plays, I'm picking against them. It's bullcrap kind of all the bullcrap stuff happening against Auburn. Yeah, cool. Ole Miss played good. Ole Miss played really good this game. If you like defense, this was not your game. Drive after drive, touchdown, field goal, touchdown, field goal, whatever. It was not your game if you like defense. But if you like football, this is definitely your game. Double overtime victory for Missouri, 23-17 over the Auburn Tigers. I think Auburn played really good this game. I think Auburn played the best they could with the horrible quarterback play from Jackson Arnold. Not to say that. And, Jackson Arnold, he went 18 for 30, 207, no touchdowns, 1 interception. Finally threw that interception. But again, a little bit, sorry. Auburn held Missouri to 91 total rushing yards for this game. 91. Top-notch defense. But staying on Auburn right here, Cam Coleman, 6 receptions, 108 yards. Perry Thompson, big old game, 4 receptions, 60 yards. But flipping back to Auburn's defense, 2 guys in double digits, both linebackers. Xavier Atkins, 11. Robert Woodyard, 11. 10 solos for Atkins, 9 solos for Woodyard. 2 sacks for Atkins, 2 tackle for losses, and 4 tackle for losses for Robert Woodyard. I mean, this team they're there. It's just better offensive play needs to happen. And then Alex McPherson missing 3 field goals obviously hurts. You hit one of those. I mean, I get it. He's still coming back from everything, But that's the first time I've seen him miss more in a game in his career. Bo Prabula flipping over to the Missouri side, 23 for 40, 252, 2 interceptions. Didn't know he had 2 interceptions. Kalen Lee and Jay Crawford, okay. Like I said, 91 total yards. Ahmad already had 24 carries for 48 yards, 2 touchdowns. Donovan Ogleblue, 5 receptions, 69 yards. And Josiah Trotter. Josiah Trotter's actually top-notch of a man. Probably one of the best guys to have in that position. On that line edge, linebacker, whatever he is. 8 tackles, 7 solos, 1 sack, 2 tackles for losses. And Auburn played good. Comes up on the short end of the stick once again. Definitely upsetting. 4 straight losses, 4 ranked opponents, 4 straight losses, 4 straight losses in the SEC. Again, everybody's calling fire Hugh Freeze. I definitely disagree with that. I think this program is on the verge of making it to where it needs to be. I think this program's on the verge of where it needs to be. I think by next year, definitely be right where we want to be. Right? Again, it sucks. We got to wait another year, but we're fine. Quit pumping the brakes. Quit shooting the gun off. Yes, it sucks as an Auburn fan that this happens. We're used to it. Again, I think if Alabama comes out and absolutely destroys us, they might fire him, and it's going to be absolutely devastating. There we go. UAB shocks Memphis in the Battle of the Bones Trophy. 31-24, the interstate game of the week. Was down in UAB this week. Again, UAB, a big shocker. UAB 11-7 all time in the Battle of the Bones. Played for a Slag of Ribs. This is pretty cool. UAB played good this game. Alex Mortensen, his first win as interim coach for the Blazers. Big win in this year inside the American. Memphis was the best, highest group of 5 school, ranked at 22. Ryder Burton getting his first start this week, 20 for 22, 251, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. And sorry about that. I'll let it go. But UAB did play good. Brandon Lewis did get hurt. He went 9 for 10 for 68 yards, then got hurt, pulled out of the game. I think UAB's in the right direction. I really do. Coming up, the Blazers, like I said, they need to win 3 more games to become bowl eligible. UConn, Rice, North Texas, South Florida, and Tulsa. I think they can win UConn, Rice, and Tulsa. I think UAB has the chance to turn this back around and get a bowl game right here at the end of the season. Great. Hold on, please. Now it's time for the game of the week. The Under Review Podcast Game of the Week took us to Tuscaloosa. Final score 20-37 in favor of the Alabama Crimson Tide in the cigar game. I think this was a good game until right before halftime. Alabama sealed their fate with a 98-yard pick six by Xavier Brown. 99-yard pick six by Xavier Brown to really turn the tide in the favor for the Tide. Really no looking back after that, and I'm like, if you watch the game, you really see the win from Tennessee Sales go right there. Joey Aguilar, 28 for 42, 268, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Deshaun Bishop had a great game. 14 carries, 123 for 2 touchdowns. And then Braylon Staley, 10 receptions for 92 yards and a touchdown. Colton Hood, the Auburn transfer, 4 tackles, 3 solos, 1 pass deflection. Flipping to Alabama side, Ty Simpson, probably your Heisman winner. Let's be real. 19 for 29, 253, 2 touchdowns. Jeremy Bernard, 4 carries, 49 yards, no touchdowns. Daniel Hill, 7 carries, 34 yards, 1 touchdown. Jam Miller, 12 carries, 15 yards, 1 touchdown. 120 yards for Alabama rushing yards. And most of that came from 2 wide receivers. Ron Williams did have a big game this game. 5 receptions, 87 yards, no touchdowns. His touchdowns came from Isaiah Horton was 1 catch, 2 yards, 1 touchdown. And then Rico Scott 1 catch for 11 yards and 1 touchdown. And Ty Simpson did lose 1 fumble. Brady Hubbard had a big game, 7 tackles, 5 solos. Sabian Brown, like I said, had that pick 6 earlier. Sabian Brown, 7 tackles, 3 solos, 1 touchdown. Okay. Not much, Alabama doing Alabama things. But, yeah, that's all we have for you. It's not a lot. Just me, it's boring. But we'll get to it. We'll see you next Thursday. Marty's back. Nicholas Adams is in the studio with us. We're going to be bringing you some good games. Hopefully, if Nick knows what he's talking about, love him to death, but don't really know much about football unless it's Alabama. So we'll see y'all there. Until then, keep your flags handy, and we'll see you when we go into the monitor. Thank you.